Bitcoin is currently rallying. Is this the end of the bargain buying opportunity? Historically, any downside deviation below the reaccumulation range tends to be a bargain buying opportunity. We've seen that over the course of the cycle 2024, dating back even to 2023. So is this now going to be the end of the bargain buying opportunity? Because Bitcoin may very well reclaim this range very shortly. We'll be diving that into a lot of detail today. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this in the future. Like this video if you enjoy content like this going forward, and let's dive right into it. So how much longer can we see this bargain buying opportunity remain below the range low of 60,600? We've been below this region for quite a few weeks, the longest time spent below this reaccumulation range in history, really. This has been a 2-week period. We only saw a few days below this reaccumulation range back in April, May, and here we saw 1, 2, 3 weeks of consolidation here before reclaiming the range, and now this is the 3rd week still, and we may be going into the new week with a weekly close above 60,600. We're only $1,000 away, so it's not entirely impossible that we reclaim this reaccumulation range and manage to challenge for upside continuation inside this range. But perhaps importantly, most importantly, we need to break these series of lower highs here, and that all starts off with reaccumulation range low getting reclaimed as support. Historically, we've seen breakouts from the reaccumulation range 160 days after the halving. We are deviating below this range, but if we do reclaim this range, we'll be able to rally across this range quite quickly, especially if we break that lower high resistance. So can history repeat itself? Because 160 days after the halving is where we saw a breakout from this reaccumulation range in 2020. We're currently 150 days after the halving, so there's still time. But in 2016, we saw price break out from the reaccumulation range 154 days after the halving. So a little bit earlier than 160 days in 2020, but very similar price predicaments in terms of 2016. And we are at this moment in the cycle. So in 2016, at this same moment in the cycle, we were just hovering below the reaccumulation range high here. In 2020, at this same moment in the cycle, we were just retesting the bottom of the reaccumulation range here. We had 2 of those. So this overall reaccumulation range phase had 2 reaccumulation ranges. Here at this moment in the cycle, we are trying to reclaim the range low. So in 2016, trying to break the range high. In 2020, trying to retest the range low as support. And in 2024, we're seeing price try to reclaim the bottom of this range. So will we see history repeat with a breakout in early October, 160 days after the halving? And if we move on to the weekly time frame here, and we have this downtrending channel, this black downtrending channel, any downside deviation into this bargain buying region has been bought up by buyers, and we've seen price reclaim this downtrending channel. This is just a different interpretation that marries well quite nicely with the reaccumulation range low. We need to see 60,600 get reclaimed as support on the reaccumulation range low perspective, but we just need to close above 58,150 above the downtrending channel bottom for this channel overall to get reclaimed as support to position price potentially for a price expansion across this downtrending channel. So very similar price predicament in the sense that any deviations below this channel have been bargain buying opportunities, and price is on the cusp of potentially reclaiming this downtrending channel bottom as support. It just needs to weekly close above this figure. But we have seen over the past few weeks upside wicking beyond the channel bottom support. On 3 separate occasions, we've seen price upside wick before rejecting from the channel bottom. So really important that we get that weekly candle close above 58,150, because that's ultimately what's going to secure this channel bottom as support, and then we could see a pullback into the channel bottom, maybe even a volatile retest here before trying to rally across this downtrending channel to first try and break this series of lower highs here. So really interesting week ahead of us. But what's really interesting on the monthly time frame is that this historical point of rejection here, which has kickstarted a bear market in the previous cycle, this area has been holding as support for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months now. This is the 7th month that we're seeing price hold this area of historical resistance into new demand, and we've been seeing countless times downside wicking below this area as part of a volatile retest, and price has been managing to monthly close, inside this demand area every single time. In fact, over the past quarter, we've been seeing a diamond shaped reversal here. Lower lows in the price action followed by higher lows in the price action. This is a diamond shaped reversal here, and a monthly close for September just like this inside this area would be fantastic. In fact, in previous videos I was talking about how we just needed to see a September, a typically red September. We needed that September to close at break even to secure this area as support. On the flip side of that, also, we were talking about that even if we were to monthly close below this area of support and in fact potentially break down from here, October tends to be a strong month where we would probably reverse and break back above this area of demand anyway. So September, the monthly close wasn't as important, whether that was going to be slightly below this area or within this area. Of course, within this area is even more bullish, but any sort of close in and around this region was going to likely be made up in a typically strong October. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. But if we were to monthly close in the positive side, even above 60,600, that would be even better. And I think that would be a really strong signal that would propel price into a positive October, because we're currently trying to make up ground that we've lost here, and we're doing really well for a typically red month of September. Of course, we did see that downside earlier this month, and we saw a lot of pessimism and panic at the bottom of this downside wick, but we're making up ground. Reclaim 60,600 as support. That would reclaim the reaccumulation range high, and we'd resynchronize with post-halving price tendencies, and that would put price in pole position to potentially break this lower high. These series of lower highs that have been lasting since mid-March, breaking that would really put price in pole position for a fantastic return in Q4 of this year. So subscribe to the channel for more videos like this in the future. But before we wrap up this video here, how long can we stave off this breakout beyond the 57.5% resistance on the Bitcoin dominance? How much longer can we stave off this breakout? A monthly close above this region would and has historically preceded an upside across this general macro range from 57.5% to 71%. So that Bitcoin would get increasingly market dominant. That would be a massive dominance for Bitcoin in the overall crypto market, breaking this region of resistance and turning it into support. That's the crucial thing as well. That sort of activity in Bitcoin dominance would precede a break of this key resistance and enable expansion. And that would be really fantastic, because we'd see Bitcoin probably breaking into a macro uptrend and even possibly entering that parabolic phase of the cycle, which tends to occur 160 days after the halving. We're 150 days after the halving, so we're really close to that point. We have been consolidating for a long time here, but it's a shorter time, 213 days, roughly speaking, compared to what we've seen here in 300 days in the 2018-2019 phase of the cycle. So we need to watch out for this confirmation here to enable that expansion in Bitcoin dominance. But how much longer, how much time do we really still have left before Bitcoin dominance really appreciates towards the upside and sees money flow trickle into Bitcoin predominantly? But once we do reject at any point, whether that's going to be 71% or even lower, at any point when we reject, we'll see altcoin money flow into altcoins, and altcoin valuations would start to skyrocket as Bitcoin dominance trends downwards. So we're on a cusp of a very important period in the market. Q4 tends to be fantastic for Bitcoin, and as long as we continue to hold this support, and we're doing really well here, that will predispose price to a lower high challenge here to break this series of lower highs dating back to mid-March and slowly enter Bitcoin into the parabolic phase of the cycle. So really important that we reclaim this downtrending channel here. Really important that we reclaim 60,600 as support to resynchronize with post-halving price tendencies and finally break out into the post-halving parabolic phase of the cycle for Bitcoin. Thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this in the future. Like this video if you enjoy content like this going forward. I'm Rekt Capital, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Speak to you soon.